Now, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, that is Kithure Kindiki, has revoked the Gazette notice on the upward revision of charges, fees and levies for various services provided by the State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services. This is to allow for public participation in the matter. Now, Kindiki has also directed the State Department for Immigration to conduct public participation on the matter by December 10th, 2023. Now, new ID applications to pay 300 shillings, the government to defray fees for those certified and able to pay ID replacement, and or rather the ID replacement cost will now be at 1,000 shillings, and whereby if you are applying for your ID for the first time, you'll be doing that at 300 shillings. Those are the new charges according to the Interior CS, that is Kithure Kindiki. This follows a public uproar that was experienced in the country following the earlier Gazette notice dated November 7th. I also want to just read as the reason as to why we are having this, and this is based on the notice and the statement that has been released by the Interior Ministry. And he says now the intended revised charges, fees and levies are informed by the need for Kenya's self-reliance in financing the national budget to wean the country from unsustainable debt that poses grave threats to our sovereignty and the dignity of future generations. My name is Brian Amwai. Welcome to the Bottom Line tonight. These are the top stories. On the Bottom Line tonight, petrol prices remain unchanged as diesel and kerosene prices drop by 2 shillings. Also tonight, missing businesswoman Anjeri presents herself in court, blaming the government for her abduction, claiming ownership of the controversial fuel worth 17 billion shillings. And 3 people killed at the West Pokot-Turkana border after deadly bandit attack. All right, now we'll keep you updated on this particular issue. There's so many things that have been reversed here. We'll be updating you as we continue with the program tonight because these are just developing stories, all right? And we are making sure that we do give you the details as soon as we get, and also just so that you get to understand in details what these particular new prices mean for you as a citizen. Also, something that has happened today, it is the new fuel prices in the country. We do have a reduction in fuel prices, and as petrol remains the same. Do tell us where you are watching us from and what you think about the stories that we are running today. The hashtag we're using tonight is the Bottomline KE. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, so share your feedback on those particular social platforms. We'll be sampling some of it as we continue with the program tonight. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Josephine Oko. Let's begin. Now, the price of super petrol has remained unchanged at 217.36 per litre in Nairobi, while diesel and kerosene dropped by 2 shillings. A litre of diesel in Nairobi will now retail at 203.47 effective midnight as the government increased the subsidy on petroleum products. Now, businesswoman Anjeri Njoroge has continued to claim ownership of the 100 metric tons of fuel worth 17 billion shillings, despite claims by KPA Managing Director William RUTO that the businesswoman forged documentation of the said fuel cargo. Nazian Keitani now reports Njeri, who went missing last week on Thursday, early Tuesday presented herself in court, accompanied by her lawyer Cliff Ombeta, who blamed the government for the abduction of the businesswoman.
4 days after disappearing under unclear circumstances, businesswoman Anjeri was today traced at Nyayo Estate in Embakasi by her lawyers led by Cliff Ombeta, later on presenting herself before the Mombasa law courts, as controversy continues to brew regarding the ownership of the 17 billion worth of fuel docked at the Mombasa port. As alluded to by Energy CS Davis Churchill, Njeri affirmed meeting the CS who informed her about the ownership of the fuel cargo and instructed her to record a statement at the DCI. However, little did she know that her journey to the DCI offices would later lead to her disappearance.
Na wakati Tunasubiri, nilienda kumuona CS Chirichir na ndio akaniambia mafuta sio yangu tena, mafuta ni ya kampuni inajiita Garana. So tulianza kutoka kwenye mlango ya CID headquarters na nikaona tumeelekea njia ya kwenda Kiambu. So nienda nikiwauliza bona mwanipeleka wapi jamani? Kabio sijali, hakuna shida.
Despite KPA Managing Director and Energy CS noting that the fuel cargo did not belong to the businesswoman, Jerry insists on the ownership of the 17 billion worth of fuel.
Nilileta mafuta hapa nchini. Meli yangu iliingia tarehe 10 mwezi wa 11 na ilikuwa imebeba 100,000 metric ton of EN 590 10 ppm diesel.
After being released, with those behind her abduction demanding that she withdraws the case filed in court, her lawyer Cliff Ombeta blamed the government for the abduction while blasting them for trying to use force to claim ownership of the fuel.
The threats she had been given were that she needs to withdraw the case, not to speak to her lawyers, and to leave the country immediately. Wacha niwaambie serikali iko na uhusiano. Haya mafuta ni serikali imechukua. Serikali imeiba haya mafuta kwa sababu hayakuwa yao, lakini wameingiza kwa pipeline yao. Huo si ni uwizi?
Ombeta and Jerry denied claims of the businesswoman using fake documents to claim ownership, with Jerry admitting that the only document she was not aware was needed was the import permit.
Sija forge. I never dealt with any forged document on my business. All documents are legit.
Na wanasema kuwa makaratasi yake yalikuwa gushi. Makaratasi gani yalikuwa gushi? Nyinyi mmeona makaratasi yao? Ikiwa makaratasi yake yalikuwa fake, mbona yeye yameachiliwa?
With the revelation made by Jerry throwing a spanner into the works and the businesswoman still claiming ownership of the cargo, her lawyers are maintaining that her life is under threat. The question remains, who is behind the kidnapping of the businesswoman? And just who is the genuine owner of the 17 billion worth of fuel? Ian Keitane, Lookuptv.
Right, now Immigration and Public Service Department today summoned 17 directors of state corporations including KRA and Kenya Power for defying President William Ruto's order to make all payments for services provided by the government to be carried out electronically through the e-Citizen platform with a similar pay bill number. Now Stanley Lugaria now reports.
In an effort to close down on loopholes of funds lost during provision of services to citizens that are across all state-owned corporations, on Tuesday, Principal Secretary Julius Bitok and Mercy Wanjau, Secretary in the Department of Immigration and Citizen Services, during a session with the press, have ordered more than 17 government organizations that have not yet complied with the President William Ruto's order to do so within the next 1 month or else be locked out in the process.
Today we had an engagement with some of the MDAs and we have had very constructive conversations on the road to compliance. We have had discussions that will enable recognition of unique cases and closure of those cases. Indeed, we will be devoting even more time to understand the businesses that they handle so that at the end of the day and hopefully before that deadline, we are able to recognize all services as they should be on the platform. That services that they're entitled to are available on the e-Citizen platform, and to even ask them to look beyond and see if there are other services that they would wish to be availed on that platform and to suggest them, so that in the next season we would be looking to build up on the e-Citizen portfolio.
Bitok and Wanjau mentioned funding as the main challenge in the implementation of the statesman's order, revealing that the department needs between 70 and 200 million shillings to actualize the directive, claiming that according to the statistics collected up to June this year, a total of 250 ministries, departments and agencies of governments have completely joined the e-Citizen system, providing more than 16,000 government services, aiming to generate daily income of up to 1 billion shillings from 281 million collected daily.
Why have these services been developed? This is pursuant to the commitment of this administration to enhance service delivery to Kenyans. You are now able, from wherever you are, to procure government services and obtain them within a timeline that is already prescribed.
Bitok warned those organizations and called on government institutions that are still doing payment services using paybill number other than 22222 that they will be locked out in accordance with the president's order that seeks to be achieved by December 31st this year.
Ultimately, that we may be able to achieve revenue enhancement and transparency on this platform. The presidential directive that was issued by His Excellency the President has set a timeline of 31st of December this year to upload 100% of all known services in this country.
Stanley Logaria, Lookuptv.
Now, the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget has blamed the faulty revenue collecting system as the major reason for decreased revenue collection. Appearing before the committee, the Commission for Revenue Allocation stated that there is need to improve the system to increase revenue collection, which has now decreased by 25%.
In designing and developing the system, accounting may consult. That is now answering to your question. The National Treasury, KRA, and any other institution.
In a debate that brought together the Commission of Allocating Revenue, Council of Governors, and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, even after spending several hours to discuss concerns on the allocation of revenue in the counties, they still failed to come to an agreement. According to CRA, the system used to collect revenue is the major reason for a decrease in revenue collection in the counties.
Some of the counties having a system, whichever system, the vendors usually charge them an amount, and there are counties whereby they lose 25% of this revenue that is being collected, all the way from 5% to 25%. So if we are able to do the integrated, the ICRMS, then it will be able to resolve all these issues, and then we are able to engage all the stakeholders that are involved, and then we'll be able to improve the revenue collection of the county governments. Thank you.
The Council of Governors had opposed a proposal by the National Treasury to form a committee to approve and regulate revenue collected by counties, a move they termed as a threat to devolution.
We know the fears that maybe COG may have in terms of somebody getting into the county and controlling the systems, but I think it is misplaced because they will still have autonomy in terms of revenue utilization. Money will be collected, but when it comes to appropriation, it is still the county that will appropriate every penny. No?
And according to Mombasa Senator Faki Mohammed, a member to the committee, lack of consultations and engagement between the Council of Governors and the Commission of Allocation of Revenue is also another challenge. This was echoed by the chair, who said that the system used gives room for corruption.
There is a lot that is, you've noted, that is out there that is not really being collected, or if it's collected, then it leaks. And then we don't achieve, then we continue, devolution keeps on weakening.
But how that revenue is collected. And in my opinion, Treasury and maybe KRA, they have the requisite expertise and experience to determine which may be, to advise the county government, which will be the best system that they might have in the collection of their revenue. Okay. So I'm saying that the consultation, they have to consult Treasury and KRA. It should be mandatory because.
Mavin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Right, now that story by Mavin Getembe takes us to our first break here on the Bottom Line. But before we do that, Pablo Moja says, watching from Ruiru, thank you so much for tuning in. Nyakwara Dede says, live from Siaya County. We do appreciate your feedback here on the program. Continue engaging us. That is at Lookuptv on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. All right, we take a break. We'll be back in a few.
Introducing the Kenya Trade Fair Fusion Sales Drive event in the heart of Nairobi at the Kenya National Archives. It's not just an event, it's sales generation with a remarkable return on investment. Get ready to let your booth do the talking as you study new market trends with lots of entertainment featuring traditional live bands, DJs and artists. For vendor registration, call 0724-715-334 or 0713-907-584 or 0723-861-173.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Now, thank you so much for staying with us and welcome back. Now, a Kenyan by the name Frederick Bikeri is the recent petitioner in the case challenging the implementation of government gazette notice to increase charges on government documentation and fees on services to its citizen. Now, the petitioner, through legal advisor Danson Omari, argues that there is no justifiable reason by the government to increase charges. This, of course, in line with the latest gazette notice that has just been released by Interior CS Kithure Kindiki.
The recent decision by the government to increase charges and fees for various documentation and services has raised legal questions among Kenyans who challenge its implementation.
Last week, the CS for Interior, equally the CS for Lands, issued gazette notices to the effect that the cost of government services was increased tremendously.
Today, another petitioner, Frederick Bikeri, through his lawyer Danson Omari, has filed a petition in court over the increase of passport charges and government services. The petitioner says there is need to suspend the implementation of gazette notices, reviewing charges as they will result to undue hardships and suffering to Kenyans.
There are no jobs here. The government has said it has no jobs. Kenyans get passport, go out of the country. They have made the cost of a passport beyond reach of a citizen. We have very many issues within that petition. Mothers who are Kenyans who give birth outside this country, bringing that kid to this country, which below where the kid is a citizen, is going to be very expensive.
He says there was no justifiable reasons to escalate the charges and public participation was not adhered to, violating Article 10 of the Constitution that demands public consultation on matters affecting them.
In sum total, Article 10 of the Constitution demands for public participation. Article 10 of the Constitution demands for transparency. Article 10 of the Constitution demands involvement of the public. Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives Bikeri the power, says we the people must be consulted.
Justice Lawrence Mugambi has directed that the matter be mentioned on November 29th when the other case filed by Nakuru-based Surgeon Magare Gikenye
will be mentioned. Through Gazette Notices number 15239 through to 15242, dated 6th November 2023, the Interior CS Kithure Kindiki published a review of charges and fees for various government documentation and services. Alo Dagal for Lookuptv.
All right, there's been clarification on that particular story. Also, with the latest Gazette notice actually directing for more public participation and actually revising the charges that had been given, rather, that were in that earlier Gazette notice of November 7th, right? Away from that, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has said that he is positive that reforms in the coffee sector will materialize and soon farmers will enjoy the much-deserved returns. Gachagua further stated that the government has set aside 4 billion shillings and has prioritized coffee reforms as a key strategy to revitalize the coffee sector and increase production.
In the need to improve the coffee sector, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has revealed that the government is finalizing modalities of releasing the enhanced coffee cherry advance revolving funds to farmers.
We are moving from 20 shillings per kilo, which has been the case, to 80 shillings per kilo.
This thing we must win.
We should.
Because it used to work then. And nothing has changed. The farmers are the same, the soils are the same, the environment is the same. It's only when we liberalized, the private people came and then they should change the farmer.
During an engagement with the Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui and key stakeholders in the subsector at his residence in Karen, the DP has said they have put up measures to ensure the resources sharing is transparent and fair.
The intervention of 4 billion shillings, in addition to the existing 2.74 billion shillings, has gone a long way to create interest in this value chain.
To enhance the cherry fund so that we can intervene in this period for the farmer. And I'm happy that you have come up with a formula of how now we can intervene in the market.
Nevertheless, Rigathi has issued a stern warning to coffee farming cartels who have been toxifying this sector and reducing its productivity, especially in its performance internationally.
Sisi hatuna shida na mtu yeyote. Yes. Ile shida yetu ni kitu wawachilie kidogo kwa wakulima. Hiyo tu. If they can agree, we have no interest in destabilizing existing institutions. Yes. We don't have an interest. They have invested here. If they can agree to share the profit with the farmers, we don't have a problem. Viongozi muambie wakulima watulie tu kidogo. Unajua hakuna kizuri tapatikana rahisi. Na hii vita pia ni kali. Unajua watu wamekula watu 30 years, watoa hiyo kitu kwa mdomo watakuuma. It's not easy, but we are determined and we are up to it.
Ruga Ival, Lookuptv.
Now, thank you, Ruga Ival, for that particular report. Away from that, 3 people have died in Kamunono area along the Turkana West Pokot border after 5 armed bandits attacked them while they were boarding a motorbike. Now, area residents have raised concern about the dire situation, calling on the government to act with speed.
Just a few days after the peace bill was passed in the West Pokot County Assembly and signed by the County Governor Simon Kachapin into law,
with security.
3 people, 2 of the same family and the employee, have lost their lives after suspected bandits attacked them in Kamunono area at the border of West Pokot County and Turkana. Confirming the incident, West Pokot County Commissioner Apollo Okello said 5 bandits suspected to be from the neighboring county of Turkana sprayed bullets on a motorcycle which had 3 people on board from Kasai Romos area of Kaplon. Okello, however, noted that it's business as usual as police have been deployed in the area to patrol while giving a strong warning to those bandits. Ibi Kadini, Lookuptv.
Now, dozens of tuk-tuk and boda-boda riders paralyzed transport along the busy Kitengela-Namanga Road for 4 hours on Tuesday morning, protesting against unfair business competition for minibuses. Now, the operators claiming that the minibuses have taken over the Kitengela-Ole Kisaju route, slashing the bus fare from 70 to 30 shillings, edging them out of business.
Agitated boda riders, backed by 3 14-seater matatu circles, down the Yatuls on Tuesday morning before barricading the busy highway using the tuk-tuks, leaving passengers stranded along the road amid heavy rains.
Comrades power! Comrades power! Sisi tunaudhika sana na uongozi wa Bruce. Kwa sababu basi ni ya kufanya kutoka kwa Shimo kwenda Nairobi. Saa hii amepeleka basi kwa estate. Estate inabeba kutoka Cusco, inakuja Kenpipe along Namanga Road, Old Namanga Road. Hakuna kazi yenye pikipiki tunafanya.
The protesters have claimed that the minibuses have taken over the Kitengela-Ola Kisaju routes, slashing the bus fare from 70 shillings to 30 shillings, edging them out of business. Also blaming Isinya Sub-County Administrator for allowing the buses to operate along the route, contrary to an earlier agreement between the different stakeholders.
Burusa kuja atuambie hii kama atapeleka hii Kajiado town, Kitengela town vile anataka ama vile wananchi wanataka. Sisi kama stakeholders tunahitaji kuzungumziwa na huyo Bruce.
Tumevumilia. Alitudanganya ni basi 3. Sasa ni basi ngapi? Wanataka sisi tuende wapi jameni? Tulikuwa tunaishi kwa amani, hatujaipigana na sakata moja. Tumeishi kwa amani hizo miaka zote.
The standoff resulted in a traffic snarl up extending for more than 4 kilometers on both sides, with police officers using diplomacy to disperse the rioters who had vowed not to relent. Catherine Saina, Lookuptv.
Now, Kisumu Lakers are all set for the Hockey Africa Club Champions slated for November 16th to 26th in Blantyre, Malawi. Now, the team under coach Austin Tuju received financial boost from Rentco Africa Limited, which pumped in 2.2 million shillings during the team's flag-off at City Park Hockey Stadium. Now, the Lakers are expected to land in Malawi on Thursday by bus after failing to raise funds for air ticket.
And happy that this is the second chance we are having within one calendar period. The first one was really a testing window. It was our first time and green-ons per se. But this time around it's the second phase, and we are more familiar with the teams we are going to meet. And one of them is our home team, if I may go with that. And we are ready psychologically and far much confident and composed with the support that we're receiving from Rentco and any other partner that is going to come on board.
Came across the Lakers Club, which was struggling to get funds to be able to go for the Africa Club Championships in Malawi. And we felt an obligation to ensure that we can be able to support these girls, to be able to represent the country, to be able to carry the flag of Kenya to greater heights.
Right now, Kisumu Lakers coach Austin Tuju has called on the Kenya Union of Hockey to put proper management measures in order to attract more sponsors who will help in paying players and purchasing equipment. Now, Tuju noted that poor infrastructure has contributed to poor growth of hockey in the country.
Tatizo kubwa kwa mchezo magongo kwa sana ni viwanja. Kama saizi waweza angalia hapa imeloa maji haitembei, watoto ndo wale pale, tuko na development wenyewe pia wako na nafasi ndogo sana kucheza. Viwanja kama hivi ziko kama 2 pekee yake hapa na SH2 Union, na kulipa ni bei ghali. Kama hapa ni 1500 kwa lisali moja, SH2 Union ni kama 12500 kwa lisali moja. Na hiyo ni mchana. Sasa ukifanya mazoezi jioni ni bei ghali, na matimu mingi sana wanajaribu tu kama self sponsor, wanajaribu kujitafutia wao wenyewe ili waweze kufanya mazoezi na waweze kukuza watoto kama development. Sasa hiyo ni janga la kwanza kubwa. Janga la pili inafaa viongozi wa vilabu wakuje pamoja ili waweze kutafuta makampuni tofauti tofauti. Kama sisi tumepata Rentco, lakini bado tumefungua pale mlango tuweze, kama Rentco wanaweza kutuletea partners fulani ama wasponsor wengine pia watusaidie. Kwa maana kampuni moja pia saa nyingine itakuwa ni nzito kwao sana. Waweze kama bodi ya Kenya Hockey Union waweze kufungua mkono na roho wazi ili makampuni tofauti na serikali pia waweze kusaidia vilabu na roho moja, sio bila mapendeleo. Otherwise kama kilabu moja tu ndio inapewa usaidizi, then wengine wataangamia, watafifia na mchezo itarudi chini.
Right, it is 31 minutes past the hour. We've come to the end of our program tonight here on Lookuptv. I do want to thank you so much for watching and also your feedback. Let me see. Jack Osoro says petrol generates a lot of money. Thank you so much for. I believe you are responding to one of the stories that we did, especially on the fuel prices, or could be that of Anjeri. All right, listen. On behalf of everyone that made this one a success tonight, I do want to thank you so much for watching. Let's do this again next time, God willing. Do have yourselves a lovely night. Our sound language interpreter tonight has been Josephine. Good night.